What it do? Yo, man, listen. Today, I'm going to be talking about Exitor Ro. I'm a little sick, so the voice might be different. I'm sorry about that. Let's get right into the video. So first things first, why am I talking about Ro? Well, I'm talking about Ro because he's the best character in the game. If you watch Nandi's Dirty Dozen videos, and statistically you do, you'll see that he placed Ro at number one spot, which is, very high praise coming from Nandi because Eldirion was there since the inception of the list. Now, I want to talk about Ro, explain his team and how he functions. So the first things first, let's go over what Ro does. Ro is a very, not memorable character, four movements, two hits, okay pierce, nothing special. Where he shines is his passive. Whenever an enemy adjacent to Exitor Ro is attacked by a friendly mechanical unit, you deal two hits. He has an active ability. The active just boosts the passive to four hits for a few turns. So most of the focus will be on the passive, but understand that the active is very good. Now, the reason Exitor is good, there are many reasons. However, one of the reasons is he can proc LD a lot of times. That's why he's one of the better characters, right? Because LD decides whether a character is good or not. Now, if you think a little bit about the passive, you understand that we need a lot of mechanical units. But we can't just bring Revas, because when Revas attacks, that's just one proc of Exitor's passive, which isn't very good. So you want to build a mechanical team around Ro, which exists exclusively to proc Ro's passive as many times as humanly possible. And to do this, there's some very good in-faction synergy. You would want to include Actus and Giga in Exitor Ro teams. Now, I just want to explain Giga because there appears to be a little bit of a confusion as to how his Skitarii work. Now, Exitor's passive is not Exitor, sorry. Giga's passive is his big, shining, important part that you should focus about. And his active is a very important part of his kit that you need to keep in mind when trying to micro Giga. So first things first, Giga has two buffs. He's either in the Protector Imperative or the Conqueror Imperative. The active ability, you can use it as many times as you want in game. I mean, say limited to once per turn, of course. And it just changes between imperatives. That's all it does. It has more parts. We don't care about those parts. We just care about the parts on screen. So while Giga is in the Protector Imperative, after Giga makes an attack, this summons a Skitarii in a free adjacent hex. You can summon up to 5 Skitarii at a time. So you can have 5 active Skitarii, and if he attacks with the Protector Imperative while there's 5, you're not going to get a 6th. Now, these Skitarii, it might look like they're not working because I've seen people on Discord say, oh, Giga summons don't work on bosses because they're immune and it requires an act. No, that's not true. The reason they don't attack is because the ability doesn't specify them attacking. They will attack the next turn. They don't attack the turn they're summoned because the passive doesn't say anything about they take a turn. If you look at stuff like the Machine of War for the Imperial Guard, it actually says, I'll check it out for you real quick. It actually says, summon a Cadian Hex, and then the Cadian Guardsman immediately takes a turn. So that's why you're not getting attacks the turn they're summoned. Now, say you use the active switch imperatives, now you're in Conquer Imperative. After Giga attacks, all friendly adjacent Skitarii also attack. Now, the people who have Actus built and have read his abilities can see that Giga's passive procs of him attacking. So if Actus heals Giga, which makes Giga attack again, all of these proc an additional time. That's why Giga and Actus is such a powerful combo. Now, sequencing is very important, right? It's not just for Ro, it's for everything in the game. A Ragnar team would not work well if Ragnar attacked before Eldirion got into range. It's the same concept with Ro. First, you want to get Ro in next to the boss, that's a given. You want to get Eldirion next to the boss, that's given too, right? But the important thing is to know when to use Actus's heal first and when to attack with Giga first. So on turn 1, Giga's gonna attack in the imperative that lets him summon the protective imperative. So Giga's gonna attack, he's gonna summon one thing. And then Actus is going to heal Giga, and then this will make Giga attack again because of Actus passive, summoning another thing. Now, on the first turn you actually got to attack, you have 2 summons now. In the second turn, we're going to do the same thing. Gida is going to attack, summon something. Actus is going to heal Gida, making Gida attack, making Gida summon. So now we have 4 summons. Now, turn 3 is the important part, where now you want to heal with Actus first. Actus heals, Gida attacks, Gida summons the 5th summon. Now you are at the cap, so you don't want to attack anymore. Now you use Gida's active ability to change imperatives to offensive imperative, and then attack with Gida. What this does is Gida attacks, and all the Skitari adjacent to him, they also attack. Now, this is important because each time you attack with Gida, with Skitari, a Ro is going to proc his passive. Like, for example, on turn 2, when you have 2 summons, right? They attack, so that's 2 Ro procs. And then Gida attacks, that's a 3rd Ro proc. And then Actus heals, make Gida attack, that's a 4th proc. And on turn 3, I mean, turn 3 is where you start to pivot, but turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, those are the turns where you get to proc a Ro passive an obscene amount of times. And this does do a lot of damage. Now, I've been preaching, right? I don't really show gameplay because no creator account, and I don't really have that many teams, right? I don't have a Ro team. I'm currently working on a Neurotrope team. I have a Ragnar team. That's all I have. But this is from last season. One of my guildmates, one of my guildmates from Bloody Rose, they were doing 1,100,000 damage to the legendary Screamer Killer. And this was a bad run. Things went poorly here. I didn't want to they didn't want me to share like their whole gameplay, so I didn't. I had to respect their privacy, of course. But this does work, and it creates a situation where what's his name? Legendary bosses such as Screamer, where a Ro works really well against. They it completely warps the meta, because if you're using something like the Ragnar team, you're doing half the damage of a Ro team, which is crazy. Now, I just want to give a little shell of the team, right? You want Eldirion because you just want to proc his passive as many times as possible. Eldirion is one of the best characters in the game. You want to use Ro because he's the main star of the show, right? He's gonna Ro show. God, I'm not gonna rap. I promise. I've been told. I drop hot bars. I'm the best at rapping. Everyone says so. I'm not gonna rap. I promise. You want the Ro because his passive is very good. And on turn 4 and turn 5 and 6, or 4 and 5, you want to use his active, which will make his passive 4 hits and do more damage. So it'll be really good with Eldirion. You don't want to use the active early because you don't have as many Skitari summons set up to proc his passive as many times as possible. You have Actus, which will be healing Gida. You want to use Actus's active ability towards the end, where he's like surrounded by a lot of mechanical units. And then you have Gida, which is a summoner. There are a lot of mechanical characters in the game. You can use a lot of these, you know. There are a bunch of cool things. Depending on the boss, you can slot in and out. Depending on what you have, you can slot in and out, right? If you have orcs, they're good. You know, what's his name? The boss, if he gets the trait which makes it so he procs extra hits when he is when he's adjacent to a boss that has a bunch of stuff around him, Gida can hug the boss and then summon that way, creating a situation where the boss gets extra hits, right? You can use, I don't know, show, you know, 4 procs a turn with the drones all set up at towards the end. You can use Revas for active ability clearing, right? Sometimes you want to prepare Overwatch to clear out a bunch of chaff from the board. Some of you might not have a lot of tanks, so I really like Revas working there. It's a bunch of things you can do. Like the concept, the proof of concept is the fact that you can do millions of damage to bosses with one, like over 1 million damage to bosses with one ticket. But I really do like the Ro team. It's an LD team, I get that, but it functions just different enough to the point where, oh, it's just one character proccing it and everything else is like this weird mini game where you get to try to proc as many attacks as possible. And this is also very good against boss adjacent traits, right? I know it got changed because of Ro, right? Because he was one-shotting everything. But it's still very good. It does a lot of damage. It does proc the quantity of attacks pretty easily when you're fully set up, right? So, I mean, you can even use Giga, which is crazy, right? It makes no sense. Just summon his stupid little tank creature. Yeah, no, I mean, I think Row Team is pretty good. You know, first place, Dirty Dozen, 100, or 1,100,000 damage on the Scrimmer Killer. It's pretty good. And if you're bored of the Bellator, Ragnar, Calgar meta, this might be a breath of fresh air without deviating too much from like the fact that you already built Eldurion. Right. Anyways, I'm just rambling. I don't want to ramble anymore. Bloody Rose Discord server. I've been like, hey guys, hey, can we share strats? Can we share strats? And they were like, yes, we can share strats, Draupnir. We got you. Like, just do whatever you want. They're here to support you. They're an awesome community filled with awesome people. I genuinely mean this because if I didn't like the Discord server, I would just leave and block everybody. But they're genuinely the nicest people. I really appreciate talking to them. I come up with them at like, oh my God, what about this strategy? What about that strategy? And they don't even like say, oh no, it's not gonna work. They like walk me through it. We discuss it. It's a very nice, kind, accepting community filled with awesome people. And since you're an awesome people person, I don't know, man. It just fits. It just works, fellas. It just works. Anyways, thank you very much for watching my videos. I want to thank someone specifically called Diesel Fox. They entered my refer friend code. I was genuinely surprised. I got this message on the Tacticus. It's like, oh, you got 100 shards. I'm like, oh, what is this? And then, oh my goodness, someone entered my refer friend code. Insane. I'm gonna put you in all the end cards now because I appreciate you. If you want to enter the code, it's there. If you don't want to do it, it's all fine. It's all fine. You know what? It's completely fine. There are a lot of content creators. You use their codes, no problem. Thank you very much for watching my videos. I genuinely appreciate it. Have a good day and stay safe.